Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Sujata Mangaraj, President, Association of Indian Management Schools and Director Committee Academics at Bhavan Center for Communication and Management, 𝗪𝗲𝗃𝗱𝗃𝗃, Bhubaneshwar. Our most honorable chairman, AICT, Professor Dr. Anil Sahasrabudhe sir, Revered Professor Dr. Uday Salunkhe sir, past President AIMS and Group Director WeSchool, respected Dr. 𝗂𝗵𝗹𝗃𝗀𝗁 sir, Senior Dean and Director WeSchool Bangalore and past President AIMS, esteemed past presidents and executive board members of AIMS, dear participants, a very good afternoon to all of you. On behalf of Association of Indian Management Schools, I extend a very warm and hearty welcome to all of you to this webinar. As the President of AIMS, it is indeed a great honor for me to introduce AIMS to all the participants present here, particularly to our honored guest, the Chairman of AICT. Established in the year 1988, AIMS is a networking organization of more than 850 business schools of national and international repute in India. The vision of AIMS is to safeguard the interest of business education and contributing towards quality improvement on a continuous basis, and its mission is to focus on quality by encouraging management research, facilitating in designing market-driven curriculum, organizing faculty development programs, help maintain and improve standards of teaching and learning, and enabling accreditation and quality assurance of its member institutions. It has a four-tier decentralized structure of governance with the general body at the apex, followed by a strong central collective leadership at the national level, that is the executive board, having 4 regional councils at the regional level and 15 local chapters. AIMS is a reciprocal member of several important international forums like ACBSP USA, AACSP USA, EFMD Europe, and Association of Management Development Institutions in South Asia, AMDESA. AIMS regularly conducts regional roundtables for deans and directors and provides financial support to its member institutions for conducting various national and international level seminars, FDPs, case writing and case method of teaching workshops, and undertaking research projects on management education. Our AIMS test for management admission ATMA is being conducted for last 16 years. AIMS publishes a biannual UGC approved referred research journal and also publishes a bi-monthly e-newsletter. Its flagship event is annual management education convention, where it recognizes the achievements of its member institutions and their deans and directors and faculty members and students with various awards. The most prestigious is its 𝗪𝗲𝗃𝗱𝗃 Fellow Award. Besides, if you look into sir, you will see that AIMS provides awards for the organization, for deans and directors, for faculty, as well as for students. WeSchool Innovation Award is one of that kind, which provides all such awards. If you look into faculty award, Jail Batra Best Research Paper Award, 𝗃𝗱𝗃 Best Teacher Award, Ramaswamy Young Teacher Award, all these are for teachers. Best Case Award is also for teachers. If you look into for the students, Conscious Capitalism Award, Data-Wise Best Manager Award, Best Student Research Paper Award is one, are the 3 awards for the students. If you look into Director Awards, Dean's Award, then we have AIMS ASEAN Best Director Award. COVID-19 has ushered AIMS with organizing a series of webinars for its stakeholders. As management education is at the crossroad, the topic of today's webinar, 15th in the series, in the webinar series of AIMS, that is management education, post-COVID-19 challenges and opportunities, is very aptly selected as we all are experiencing the challenges and exploring the opportunities. It is more special because of our today's honored guest, the chairman of AICTE, Professor Dr. Anil Sahasrabudhe sir. I feel it a great privilege and honor on my part to introduce our revered guest to the audience. Professor Dr. Anil Sahasrabudhe sir has been an institution builder with a strong commitment to teaching and nation building. He has done his bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering with a gold medal from Karnataka University, securing first rank to university in all 10 semesters, and master's and PhD degree with distinctions from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. He was associated with the two new institutions in the remotest region of the country, that is Northeastern Regional Institute of Science and Technology in Arunachal Pradesh, and the 6th IIT, that is Indian Institute of Technology, Guwahati. Sahasrabudhe joined one of the oldest colleges in India, that is College of Engineering, Pune, as its director on deputation from IIT Guwahati from 2006 to 2015. In these 9 years, the college was totally turned around, which has been a unique example showcased by the World Bank funded PQIP project as an excellent model of governance. Professor Sahasrabudhe sir has published more than 50 research papers in peer-reviewed journals and in conference volumes and filed one patent. Given this track record, the two prominent institutions in the country, he has been chosen to lead the All India Council for Technical Education, AICTE, as its chairman, and he joined AICTE in July 2015. During the short stint at AICTE, so far, sir has already introduced several reforms and made AICTE a vibrant organization. Now, it is not just a regulator for technical education, but a facilitator to improve the quality of technical education in the country. The world's largest hackathon, mentorship scheme for helping technical institutions, 𝗠𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗃, AICT's startup policy to promote innovation and entrepreneurship culture in India, developing India's indigenous MOOC platform, SWAYAM, are some of the new initiatives launched by his able leadership. Sahasrabudhe is a recipient of Praj Entrepreneur Award, MIT World Peace University's Lifetime Achievement Award, and is chairman of the Basic Scientific Research Committee of University Grants Commission. He is a member and a fellow of many professional societies and Indian National Academy of Engineering. On behalf of Association of Indian Management Schools and on my personal behalf, sir, I extend you a very warm and hearty welcome to this webinar. And I request you, sir, to utilize the intellectual resources of AIMS for conducting quality improvement programs, faculty development programs, and undertaking joint research. I think, sir, will be very happy and privileged to have the collaboration of AICTE. We have with us a very prominent person from Association of Indian Management School, a very leading personality of AIMS, Professor Dr. Uday Salunkhe. Professor Dr. Salunkhe is the group director at WeSchool and is the former president of AIMS. In recognition for his exemplary contribution to management education, Dr. Salunkhe was awarded with the prestigious 𝗂𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 Fellowship, USA, and the 𝗪𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 National Fellow Award of AIMS. As a visionary leader, he is actively associated with universities and educational authorities at the state, national, and international level to improve the quality of management education. Dr. Salunkhe has been the chairman of Local Managing Committee of Association of Management Development Institutions in South Asia, AMDISA. He is the president of National HRD Network, NHRD Mumbai chapter, and the governor's nominee to the Senate of University of Mumbai. An ardent lover of adventurous sports, Dr. Salunkhe believes in experiential learning is a key to outcome-based education. With this, I welcome you, sir, Dr. Uday Salunkhe to the session and request you, sir, to moderate the session and interact with our honored guest.
Thank you very much, madam,
now
for a generous,
a
generous introduction. Thank you very much.
Now it is
Go ahead, ma'am.
Now it is my great pleasure to introduce a good human being first, then, and he is none other than our Professor Dr. 𝗠𝗵𝗹𝗃𝗰𝗁, the Senior Dean and Director at WeSchool Bangalore campus. Having rich experience in industry and academics, Dr. Rao is the former president of AIMS, a very young president of Association of India Management School, I think the youngest president of AIMS in these 32 years, and the recipient of the prestigious 𝗪𝗏 𝗪𝗏 National Fellow Award of AIMS. I welcome you, Dr. Rao, to this webinar. We are not only eagerly waiting to listen to Professor Sahasrabudhe sir, but also we have many questions to ask. I request Anil Rao sir to take up the questions posed by the audience and also propose the vote of thanks. With this, I once again welcome you all to this webinar, and now handing over the session to Dr. Salunkhe. And before doing so, I request all the participants to put your questions in your chat box and keep your audio into mute and your camera in switched off mode. With this, once again, I welcome all of you. And now I am handing over the session to Salunkhe. Salunkhe, sir, please.
Madam, thank you. Thanks for a very generous introduction.
Thank you,
Multifaceted, the gentleman with the great humility, the transformation leader in the space of higher and technical education, and absolutely very affectionate, very loving chairman of AICT, Professor Dr. Anil Sahasrabudhe. It's nice to have you here, and that shows your commitment even on Sunday afternoon. You gave us the time, and I'm sure everybody is there with you. So thank you very much, sir. Dynamic women leader, very, again, kind of down to earth, madam, Dr. Sujata Mangaraj, President AIMS.
Thank you, sir.
My past presidents, executive board members, Dr. Anil Rao, my colleague and past president, AIMS Secretariat. In fact, Venkateshwarlu, Sunil, and everybody has put in a lot of efforts. I'm not getting into formalities, but just as a context, COVID-19 has given us a wonderful opportunity to create a different set of future for India. It's normally being said that never let a crisis go to waste. This crisis has come at such a time when India is definitely has been through this phase for the last 2 months and looking forward to the future. We all are using terminology like VUCA or VUCA world very often. And I'm sure for the benefits of the students who are there also on the YouTube and other channels, the VUCA stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. So in this VUCA world, definitely our mettle was not tested of the Indian education as well as business schools fraternity. But this particular moment, we are testing definitely our mettle in terms of how are we proceeding and how are we progressing in this manner. Education normally being termed that education is in comfort zone. That's the way people feel about it. But if you look at last 2 months, it's absolutely, it's not so. Because you will find all education leaders, all faculty members, all students are on the toes. And if you look at the life cycle of any business school, starting from the recruitment to their academic sessions, academic lectures, to the entire curriculum, to you'll find the summer internship, probably even final placement as well. You'll find virtual lectures, research, everything is absolutely online mode, and webinar after webinar, lectures after lectures, people are attending and very sincerely. And I must mention here the level of sincerity from students is being very high, and probably the attendance being even close to 85 to 90%, 95% even when we took a stock in Mumbai as well. Now, probably is this happening by very naturally? Not so much, but yes, COVID-19 has created that compelling environment for all of us. But moment it started in 16th of March, even in Mumbai, we could at least see definitely people kind of, started gearing up immediately without losing time. And I must appreciate here the AICT along with IIC, MHRD, all of them have put up all kind of lecture series, including leadership lecture series or some other kind of competition to find out the solution for COVID-19 challenges. At the same time, afternoon lectures every day, almost for last 20, 25 days as well. And people are enjoying, people are having a lot of takeaways at the juncture. Now, these challenges which are short-term in nature, definitely, but long-term opportunities which we are getting out of it. Now, we need to pave a way for the blueprint to take it forward. And when we're taking a stock of the future, definitely, we need to really, while facing crisis, we need to really see how the role of institutions is going to change, how the role of leaders, how the role of teachers will change, the role of students will change. I'm sure everybody's role is going to definitely change, and people are taking very much with the cognizance that how they should really move from the earlier world to the future world at the same time. While working in the professional world, I must mention everybody taking the role of as a citizen for the societal contribution, national contribution is very much essential, and I'm sure many of the people have started doing. Here, I must cite, as ma'am mentioned in our introduction of Chairman Sir Sahasrabudhe, but in Northeast, the way in which he has contributed with the social orientation, believe me, I'm absolutely always amazed by his energy, by his strength, and the way in which he has contributed for that sector. Likewise, I personally feel, I think every one of us must contribute going beyond the call of the duty for our own institutions. When we are moving forward in the future, are we probably looking at the skill sets to be changed? Yes, certainly. In fact, everybody's talking about agility. Everybody's talking about being an agile learner. But that is must to deal in the kind of context of the ambiguity. Now, these aspects are so important, but are we connecting with the students with the kind of personal touch? Because if that personal touch is not coming, if that engagement is not coming, then we'll not succeed in our mission. And in this particular mission, definitely collaborating with everyone and really getting the best out of your team members and outside team members with the kind of thought process of interdependence is also important at the juncture is very, very important. And in this aspect, today's our guest speaker, the chairman AICT, Professor Dr. Anil Sahasrabudhe, is going to unfold from his angle the challenges and opportunities for the management education post-COVID-19. With this, I'm going to request Sir to take over the session and enlighten our gathering, and then definitely we'll have question answers as well. And thanks to you, sir, once again.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Uday Salunkhe, Dr. Sujata Mangaraj, who has been very liberal in introducing me, and so also Uday Salunkhe. Whether what I really deserve, I do not know, but at least you have been very magnanimous in telling about various things. Rest of the faculty and deans and all the people who are associated with management education, they are there. And I was watching, it has touched already 302 participants. So I think it's a good gathering, 15th in the series of webinars that you have been doing it today. And Dr. Sujata rightly mentioned about various activities that AIMS is doing. I think whether it is in terms of award for faculty, for students, the case studies, the journal, I think it's an amazing work that the entire organization has been doing for supporting the management education. So congratulations and best wishes for continuing this stride which you have been attempting at. And Dr. Uday Salunkhe, by the way, was associated with College of Engineering, Pune as the member of the Board of Governors when Dr. 𝗃𝗃 Kohli was the chairman all along, 9 years. And I think we had amazing experiments that we did in terms of innovating, whether it is curriculum, the processes and all that. And that is what transformed. So essentially, that was a teamwork. I would like to reiterate many times, this credit is given to the director of the institute or whatever the AICT is doing, that credit goes to chairman AICT. But I think it's always building teams and working together in teams. And that is what we must be always keeping in mind as far as education is also concerned, whether it is vice chancellors, directors of the institutes, the principals, and so on and so forth. So I think with that as the starting point, let me come to the COVID-19 crisis and the book of world which Dr. Uday Salunkhe referred. So I was trying to recollect, I think it was AIMS meeting in Bangalore where I had given a reverse terminology for VUCA world. So where it is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So you start in the reverse direction from A, change in the attitude. A for
Yes.
attitude, you have built the right attitude, and then that next, which is C, stands for collaboration, cooperation, commitment, and all of these factors. And U stands for unity, which we have shown during COVID-19 crisis as a nation
Yes.
to fight the
Yes.
coronavirus. And V is volatile, but this volatile is all these problems will evaporate. Volatile is evaporation. So they will all evaporation, lead to evaporation and lead to victory. V for victory. So I think
Yes.
let us build that collaboration, that commitment, that unity amongst us, and which will really take us away from the problem that exists. Problems may be complex, they may be uncertain, they may be all variety, but I think there is always a solution possible. And this we realized through our Smart India Hackathon, in which also Welingkar group of institutions, especially Dr. Uday Salunkhe has been supporting all these years, so for the last 3 years, and the fourth was about to be held, and we have to stop it in between, and now it may be a virtual hackathon happening. And during COVID crisis itself, we had 2 hackathons which were held for solving the problems of the community. The first one was Ideathon, the next was for Samadhan, which is solution for the problems. And now a very grand challenge using CSIR, Prime Minister's Office, AICT, MHRD is going to launch shortly. And that would be a real grand challenge with 100 crore investment for developing drugs. And not for COVID-19 alone, but it may be for all future problems which may arise. Actually, that we must be prepared for that. So I think it's a great initiative which is about to be launched. I think I'm giving advance notice about it. It's still in the stage of formulating the entire vision for this particular competition and how do we take it forward. So I think coming back to the COVID crisis, there is another very interesting thing which I keep on telling everyone. So I would like to reiterate. At least some of the people in management education are from engineering background, whether it is faculty or whether it is students. In fact, I have found that more than 50% students in all IIMs are normally engineering graduates, maybe from IITs or very many other engineering schools. So in mechanical engineering, we have what is known as the flow, fluid flow as well as gaseous flow. And in that, we have what are known as laminar flow and turbulent flow. So my comparison has been those institutions who were prepared for online education, whether it is in terms of technology, in terms of faculty being trained in that, they had a smooth transition from offline to online, within no time. So it was a smooth transition, and that is like laminar flow. There is nothing visible. So it was all as smooth as it was going on in the past. Whereas in terms of some of the institutions who had wherewithal, some faculty were aware, but they were not having that attitude to do it. They were forced to adopt it in this particular crisis period of online education, and they were on the boundary, and there is a boundary layer in fluid mechanics. And those who were not prepared at all, they are in the upper zone, that is turbulent zone. There is a lot of turbulence in those institutions, not able to catch up with that. Having said this, with all good interest as well as all the commitment, we found a lot of challenges, which I referred to before this session started also with the participants and especially the persons who are organizing this, that I had my own challenges 2 times in this last 3 days about the connectivity problem. If that is the case in a place like Delhi and in the place like Mumbai, I think in the rural areas there are bigger challenges. So we may give online education in terms of providing that through internet, but are they able to take it is the question which is a real problem, and we are addressing that as well as a government, as an AICT, as a regulator, come facilitator as well in the future. So what has happened is we have a 𝗬𝗵𝗶𝗂 channel. It's not just 𝗬𝗵, which is a platform where two-way traffic is possible of give and take, asking question and getting the answers. But you can give at least lectures be heard by students, they may be watched by students, although they get not the same level of experience as that of internet-based education, but at least they will have at least education at their doorsteps through 32 direct-to-home channels of 𝗬𝗵𝗶𝗂 in all domains. They are there in management. Bangalore is the key player in this. In engineering, it is the IIT Madras, and similarly, there are 9 other coordinators who manage these entire programs, both for 𝗬𝗵 and 𝗬𝗵𝗶𝗂. So this was already in existence. And the quick reaction from AICT side's activity for social good was we created a helpline immediately within 3-4 days, and our students who were in difficulty were provided support not by us but by the institutions. They provided that support. Within no time, to our call, more than 16,000 different types of facilities were provided, and takers were only 3,000. You can imagine 1:5 was the availability of resources for our students. So I think we have been going on in this respect, and then many people had a sort of a feeling that probably we will not be in a position to handle whatever faculty development workshops, etc., which we were doing face to face earlier. But we found that there is a possibility using the technology. Today we are using Zoom for this meeting. Similarly, through Zoom, through Microsoft Teams, through Google Classroom, through WebEx platform, we had more than 50 programs which we have conducted for faculty development in this COVID times itself. So that means the strength of the technology, which we were never exploring earlier, have come to our use, our help in this time of crisis. I think that is what it has happened. Now coming to the management education, one of the prominent things which most of these standalone PGDM institutions have done vis-a-vis the MBA programs of the universities, the curriculum is very flexible. There are lots of internship opportunities both within India in the companies as well as giving flavor of education abroad, taking students abroad. There are almost all the institutions who take students to different places for internship. Thereby, they call it by a different name called the immersion program. So name may be anything, but I think the whole idea is that you get to know what happens in this society and try to evolve solutions for that. I think that is what we have been doing. I'll just keep the phone away. Sorry. Okay, so what I am trying to mention is there are many challenges and there are many solutions as well that are available. Now coming to the management education, I was seeing some of the questions and some of them are experts in supply chain. There are some people from finance, some people from HR background. They are all posing some questions or they are giving their opinions. I think these are all very important during COVID times as well as future post-COVID time as well. I'll give you a few examples so that we will be on board. That supply chain is such an important subject. It is during COVID times, whether it is supply of food materials which are required, the medicines which are required, agricultural seeds, etc. required. I think supply chain as a subject and its utility and validity was never seen before as much as during the crisis of COVID-19 times. And therefore, how do we innovate? And whenever such challenges arise in the future, we are fully prepared and geared up. And therefore, supply chain becomes a very, very important thing. The next one, in terms of finance and economy of the country, there are many reports which say from about 6-7% growth rate which we had in the GDP in the last few years, suddenly it was already falling down in the last 1 year, and it is likely that it will further fall down. Many are doomsdayers say that it will go to negative growth rate in many countries, but in India and China it will remain positive, but very marginally above, maybe about 2%, 3%, not more than that. I think this is another biggest challenge which is likely to happen, and therefore the specialization of finance and all that, they must look at the possibilities of how do we come out of this and start again growing back to that normal. The third one, you have also HR. So I think leadership and the management of the organizations, whether it is educational institutions or whether it is government, whether it is private sector or the government sector, I think HR is going to play again a major role. So I think these three specializations of management, I think are really very, very critical. Of course, we have other upcoming niche areas like AI, IoT, machine learning, which will add to all these subjects and add value to that, and to solve those problems, they are tools actually, but the essence will remain the same. And therefore, post-COVID time, we have a lot of possible problems which will arise, and we need to find out solutions. So I think these will become excellent, not only the classroom exercises, but case studies. And the case studies are important because we always look forward to Harvard Business School case studies and etc. But some of our case studies have gone abroad. For example, 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 has become very famous, in all over the globe. But with all kind of, the problems that a nation of 1.35 billion is facing during COVID time and post-COVID time, how do we normalize our entire life? I think that is where hundreds of case studies can emerge. And there are excellent examples, best practices which will emerge, which will be not only be a case study for studying purpose, but for any future crisis. While this COVID-19 was going on, there is a problem in Bengal and Orissa. We have huge problem of huge wind speeds and therefore lot of turbulence and therefore lot of loss of property. How do we handle? You have multiple problems at the same time in some states now. So therefore, all these subjects become more and more prominent in the future. There may be endemic of a different nature. There may be earthquake, there may be volcano, there can be many other possible things, and how as a humanity we must gear up ourselves and come out of that whole situation and still survive. I think that is going to be very, very important. And lastly, in the last fourth lockdown period and beyond, Prime Minister has announced about self-reliance. A lot of emphasis is given on self-reliance and how do we post-COVID-19 will become Atmanirbhar Bharat. Atmanirbhar is the word which is used. So Atmanirbhar should start from local level. See, the nation cannot become Atmanirbhar without our villages becoming Atmanirbhar, without our districts becoming Atmanirbhar, without our states being Atmanirbhar. And if the entire country has to become the Atmanirbhar or self-reliant, all of these units have to work in tandem, in consonance with each other, whether it is private industry, whether it is the government sector industries, whether it is government itself, whether it is people at large, whether it is educational institutes run by private self-financed people or the MHRD controlled and state government controlled institutions. I think all of us have to put our heads together in order to really become Atmanirbhar. And that also brings in another issue of empowerment of people. I think empowerment is very, very important. Many of the labor who got displaced, first they lost the jobs and then in order to go home, they had to struggle. When they come back again to readjust to the new scenario, maybe there are lots of possibilities. I can imagine what could be the range of activities that we need to do immediately post-COVID and bring out the higher growth rate in the economy. I think creation of jobs will become important. So while all this is happening, we receive emails from our student friends that, so we had got sir internship in such and such an industry, now it has stopped. Then another one is we got a job, now will they allow me to join? The third one is placement interviews had not yet started or started and half students have got it, others have still not got it. What will happen to us? I think such doubts are raised by students. As leaders in education, all of you, around 306 of them, and there are people of the level of Vice Chancellor, directors of institutes, principals, and senior deans and faculty. I think we need to give confidence to our next generation. We have graduated from Gen Y, Gen Z, and Millennial, and all that terminologies. Forget about terminologies. Those who are in the age group of 20 to 25, who are in their higher education, maybe graduating now or just graduated and post-graduation is completed. I think there are immense opportunities with a population of 1.35 billion in our country and overall 7 billion population all over the world, all other countries being aging, and large number of deaths have occurred actually in Europe and America, not in India. And therefore, they are in more crisis, more than us, and therefore they need support. So like we often say that in terms of our Sanskrit sayings, Sarve Janaha Sukhinau Bhavantu. Our philosophy has been always that the entire humanity be happy. And Sarve Jana is not just human beings, but we even expand that beyond to other animals, so we love all animals also, the entire animal kingdom as well as plant kingdom. We worship our plants, so therefore entire nature, entire environment, and therefore I think this Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu in the truest sense, this message I think only we can give to the whole world. And therefore our preparedness for this Atmanirbharta on one side, and then how do we really help other countries. And during COVID also, most of the countries received a lot of medicines and other items for medical help from India. In fact, we were in crisis when it started, whether it is in terms of ventilators, whether it is in terms of number of PPEs, masks. We ourselves had less production, but within 2 months, we have caught up on all the fronts. And now not only we are self-reliant, but we are able to export that to other countries where the help is needed. So similarly, we are going to get an opportunity for even providing education. Since we are all in education, our Study in India program, which began about 2 years ago, had caught up only little. But now is the time that we can give either online education or even physically inviting people from different countries, because ours is twin, affordable education. Our fees compared to the best of the other countries in the world is much less, but the quality of education is absolutely, definitely good in many institutions. I'm not saying about all institutions, but certainly there are a large number of institutions where we may be not so good in research, but at least in terms of undergrad education, postgrad education, I think we are comparable to the best in the world. And that is why when our students go abroad, and whether they do their masters and PhD abroad or join jobs, they have excelled. Almost many US universities, CEOs of many companies, we all know they are all Indians. Whether it is deans of different schools in US, they are Indians. So I think we have tremendous potential. We had not explored it. So this is an opportunity which has come our way via COVID-19 crisis, and always humanity will come of age during the crisis period. We always come out with innovation, with commitment during such periods, and we have shown that way. So I think there are multiple possibilities that exist. So I will wind up with a couple of things which are very relevant and important. While we have been talking about online education, online examination, these are all required to be experimented, proctored examination which are required, the competitive examinations like JEE or GATE, or for IIM also CAT and ZAT and various examinations which we hold. I think all of them likely to be required to be online in some way or the other. I think that is one way forward. But the opportunity which is to be given to every individual, that is student, who is our important stakeholder, is also very significant. So when I talked about internet penetration, like we had roads to all villages, then we talked about electricity to all villages, and fortunately the government did succeed in that. So today the government has claimed that every village has the electricity, but every village having electricity is not enough. Every home should have the electricity. That the next target is that. And similarly, now every village should have internet capability, and subsequently every home should have internet capability. Whether it is through the hard fiber, whether it is through a mobile connectivity, I think this is the need of the hour which we should do. This will help in education, it will help in agriculture, it will help in healthcare, it will help in connectivity, it will help in all possible manners. And therefore, a large chunk of government funding immediately after COVID-19 should be on building infrastructure of this nature, which government is seized of the matter. Honorable Minister for Petroleum, Sri Dharmendra Pradhan, is the main man under whom there are 4-member cabinet committee which is going to discuss about this. I had a couple of interactions with this committee as to what innovations can be done immediately to address this particular issue. So there are many ideas which we have given. I think government will take up some of those and then implement them. And one appeal which I have been making on this all webinar platforms is all these 305 now who are sitting here, plus our majority of the faculty members in our institutions with our salaries, we change our mobile set every 5-6 months. Some new model comes, I think we leave it aside. And every home, I am sure, will have 6-7 the smartphones which are lying idle. If you throw them, it will be electronic waste generation and problem for the environment. On the other hand, if it is already working fine, if it is not, if you fix it up and give it to one poor student, I think our last mile, 20% of the people which 𝗬𝗏𝗃𝗃 has said Antyodaya, so the last man on the street should get help. I think we can do our contribution. Like gas subsidy was given up by all the people who afford, without that subsidy, all of us gave up. Similarly, I think we should give up lying idle mobile phones. You don't have to buy and give. Whatever is existing itself may be given. I think that will make a digital connect to all those who need this help. I will stop here because there will be opportunity to answer some of the queries. I can bring in other issues and other items later in answering the questions.
Thank you, sir. It was very inspiring and very insightful, Sahasrabudhe. Thank you very much. And some of the questions which are there before me, but the first question which I'm just posing from
Dr.
my
Uday,
side,
you need to use your mic.
Yeah, it's on.
It's on. It's on.
Yes, sir.
It's on.
It's on.
Yeah. So the first question I'm just posing from my side, because as you very modestly mentioned, that COAP was a culmination outcome of a lot of other factors as well. But leader does make a lot of difference. And we've seen the leadership prior to you joining COAP and before that. So maybe what was the mantra for success for COAP being in now kind of one of the best institutions in the country? Maybe a couple of points for the knowledge of, how leadership in academia makes real difference to any institution.
I think two important things which we did and we are continuing by being at AICT is, first is team building. Team is the one which is very important, and developing ownership. And that's why while formulating vision, mission and goals for the institution, we took help from some outsiders, because when घर की मुर्गी दाल बराबर जैसे होता है ना, वैसे ही होता है. तो we had TCS some of the employees who helped us in doing that, and we had 6 hats, the management jargon, and then, who moved the cheese, and Bawarchi cinema. We used all this for helping to understand how together we need to work. And that vision statement came from not the director of the institute or the heads and deans, but it was evolved from the bottoms up approach, involving students, involving our class 4 employees, involving clerical persons, involving faculty, involving some of the alumni, involving industry. I think that is how you build the teams. So that was one. And leadership has one very important trait which is required, is listening skills. So we always talk about communication skills, and communication skills normally we understand most of the time as verbal communication. I'm able to speak to you and make you understand my thought. That is not enough. Writing skills are equally important. So we do know that whether thesis or the answer books, they are all in written mode. So we normally understand these two skill sets very easily, written and oral. The third one is reading skills also, because this is what I realized while being in the COAP and many other committees. Most of the agenda items for the meetings always come just 3-4 days in advance, and they are bulky, 300 pages, 400 pages sometimes, and so many annexures. Who has the time to read all that? So how a big document of the size of 200-300 pages can be flipped, and then you get the real gist of it, because in discussion you have to participate. So I think that is the reading skills. The last one is the listening skills, also a communication skill, because communication is always two-way, and understanding the other person is very, very important. So by looking at his eyes, by the gestures that the person is doing, I think we must be able to capture that, and that is also a communication skill. And if you do that, many ideas come. So most of the things which you talked about about COAP, they came from different people, not from me. My ideas were very minimal. So most of the ideas came from people. When you listen to people carefully, some of them may be not implementable, but don't say that, this is foolish, get out. Instead of that, you say this is not implementable because of this reason. Some of them which are implementable, do adopt and give due recognition to that person. So I think more and more ideas start coming in, and you can build the institution. Today we have, AICT, MHRD has a UKRI project, under which we have leadership program that also is going on. MHRD itself has what is known as LEAP program, leadership program for the institution heads, so that those who are in the middle level they should take up the role of the leaders. So I think this is what is important. So leaders has to be a great listener, a great implementer, and very honest and upright.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And looks like many questions are coming up with respect to admission and from the accreditation point of view. The students, faculty looks like keen on that. The timeline is about July end or so for many of the business schools point of view. Looking at current scenario, Are you of the opinion that it may be extended to August or September or so?
Yeah, as we progress, I think this is not going to be static. We need to be dynamic in this respect. We do not know in which state what is going to happen. We do receive the other side also. Some of them say that you should close the admission immediately now and we want to start the classes. There is one group of institutions who are demanding that as well. So they want to start the classes in an online mode, which is allowed anyway now. So we want to start that, and therefore you close the admission. We want to take the fees and start off. Is one side. The other side, there are people who are saying that why not extend the admission date, because many of the university results will not come, many of these things. So I think it's a very, very thin line on which we are moving ahead, and the situation is being watched. Our deadline, according to the Parshvanath judgment, was April 30. So we went to the Supreme Court, moved a intervention that in somewhere around April middle, that please allow us to extend the timing, because it is not that it is possible to do it everything within April 30. So that case did not come up. It came up only day of yesterday. So they were also knowing that they have to give it. There is no choice. But when our advocate asked, see, this timetable, revised timetable we have given, but we don't know whether we can really maintain that. There may be changes further required based on how COVID-19 entire situation develops. The court, the Chief Justice and other justices started laughing, and they said, we know this, everything, so you take the call, you take the decision. So I think we may have to go back and say that this is the change which we have made, but otherwise that flexibility is now available. We should use it most judiciously, that's what I'm saying. So we have to take all sides into account.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir. One more question from the institutional head's point of view. They're mentioning in terms of the accreditation process, whoever is in the pipeline, and maybe because of the current scenario, maybe 5 to 6 months they are going to be tied up. So is there any kind of extension going to be there for the already accredited institutions, maybe till 19 or so? Or maybe some status quo for accreditation for some time, because they are gearing up with respect to current challenges?
The accreditation is done by the way, NBA. Only the
That's
benefit
right.
out of NBA, what AICT is giving, we will have to consider that. But if some institution is already accredited for say 6 years or 3 years, some of these programs, I'm sure we will discuss with NBA as well. Since the institutions have done even not necessarily one cycle, but a couple of cycles already accredited, and they may take a call. But the other one, which AICT has innovated, I will request both Professor K.K. Agarwal, Chairman of NBA, and Secretary Anil NASA, that our model, why can't you also do it? For example, for our approvals this year, wherever there was necessity of scrutiny of documents, or wherever we needed to check the affidavits, and we used to call the institutions to either regional offices, or if there are some problems under hearing committee and appeal committee, we used to call them to the headquarters. And then for completely new institutions, there used to be inspections. The physically 3 experts used to go to the college and check all those. So we have all transferred it to Microsoft team-based methodology, where we check the documents, including engineering drawings, and then physically visiting is not possible because travel restrictions are there. But we have made experts to watch what is there in the institution by asking queries, and cheating is not possible because we are recording the GPS coordinates, latitude and longitude of the institution. So I think what all the accrediting body does, almost something similar we also do, except that meeting with students, meeting with faculty may not be feasible at this juncture. Meeting with faculty also is feasible. If you open up the Microsoft Teams and say that 100 faculty of the institution also should come online, ask them some queries. I think, except the way the class is handled, literally, by visiting a classroom may be difficult, but that also online is going on. So one of the online lectures you can attend. So I think all things can be done on an online mode. So I will tell that what AICT has done, please look at it and please innovate, and don't stop processes, because we don't know how long this whole crisis is going to last actually.
True. Yeah, thank you, sir. In fact, the last question from my side, then I'll request Anil to take it over. This question is, in case if the institution fails to fill up the seats this year, full intake, because of whatever reasons, in that situation, would there be any possibility to carry forward or some kind of supernumerary kind of concept being applied that they can do it maybe 21, 22 or 22, 23, such kind of things like that?
May not be possible. I don't want to preempt.
Okay.
Not possible right now. So
Okay.
kind of a whatever request can come, we can discuss debate. But offhand, I will not be able to say that we will.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. So thank you very much, Anil. Over to you for other questions.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Uday. Thank you, President. Sir, we have a lot of questions from the participating institutions, and one question I can ask you is what could be the new contour of learning assurance, faculty-student ratio, amongst others, while evaluating an institute? What are your suggestions to institution in this regard going forward?
No, there is no suggestion to the institution, but whatever is necessary in the changed times, by next year we will come out with new regulations which will study all this, what is happening in the next 1 year, and whether faculty-student ratio as required today, can it be relaxed in the light of all this, is one part which we will be looking into naturally. Because if we are doing many things online, there may be a different kind of requirement, different type of training for faculty.
Sure.
So I think based on all that, our experience of this year, the COVID time and post-COVID time, so we will be taking the call. Right now, whatever was there is there. So I think I will not be able to change anything, or AICT will not be able to do this year. But next year, certainly, some of the suggestions which Dr. Uday Salunkhe also talked about, seats, similarly, faculty-student ratio, the computer ratio, the internet requirement, I think these all will keep changing. For example, if you look at, forget about this COVID time, even earlier, in terms of the last 4 or 5 years, infrastructure requirement is constantly reduced, whether it is in terms of land area, whether it is in terms of faculty requirement, whether it is in terms of classroom and tutorial requirement, including computer requirement. But what is increased all the time is having more e-books, e-journals, and higher bandwidth, internet connectivity. And as though we had this, like astrologer, that we knew that something like this is coming, that online all this, and it will be further increased, I'm telling you.
True.
Yeah.
So there's a connecting question which Dr. Uday did mention about, and you mentioned about discussion with NBA team, etc., or NIRF. Education 4.0 talks about student-centric learning, and thereby digitization will have more weightage. And with COVID times, we already improved on that, or we will have to improve. So what changes in NIRF or NBA norms would you suggest in tune with this change?
Naturally, one of the parameters would be how many courses have you prepared for online. See, today, most of the institutions are having face-to-face only education, and very few institutions might have had some courses which were online. So whether you have created some online courses is number one. Are you using online courses available on the platform? See, you don't have to create. In fact, usage is also one of the important things.
Absolutely.
How many of your faculty are willing to contribute towards that? I think these are very significant and important things. But in management education, this may not be relevant, but I'm talking about undergrad education. We have come out with translating the existing SWAYAM courses into Indian languages. I think this is going to become more and more important if you want to increase gross enrollment ratio, the way teaching learning process takes place. So if all the classes are only in English, in the formative time, in the freshman year, students face a lot of difficulties, especially those coming from rural areas, those who are coming from tribal areas, from local Indian language medium schools. I think they have great challenge. So we have identified courses of the first year, elementary and the fundamental and foundational courses which are very difficult for students. Such courses are identified, and we have taken up the task of translating them into 8 Indian languages immediately. And subsequently, the vision is in all 22 languages. I think that is one area where we are working. So I think the teachers and students can contribute in a big way in most of these and create an online environment, digital environment. We talked about digital payment of fees, digital payment of salaries, so that no charges and counter charges will come. We receive every day some faculty writing to me, 200 mails I reply that, the process of how do you do it. So salary is not being paid, not paid on time for several months, one part. Fee refund is not happening is another part by students. Fee being charged is another thing. So I think many of these things through digital medium, they are going to be very, very transparent, and we will bring in ethics and values in that. And that is where our program called as 3 weeks student induction program for undergrad students is important. For postgraduate education, it may not be as important for such a long time, but I still advocate some of your faculty and some of your deans and principals and directors should attend one of those sessions which we undertake regularly, and then look at it, and we can discuss together and can bring down to maybe 1 week. So most of the institutions, I'm aware that you have some kind of an orientation program in most institutions, but how do we bring in values into that? How do you bring in that is a very significant thing, and you can learn a lot of lessons from out of what we are doing for undergrad education.
Sure, sir. Wonderful, sir. In fact, your agenda of taking it to 9 languages is a wonderful initiative, sir. So there's one question with regard to COVID pandemic situation. Lot of changes with regard to management students going out of the country to another countries, and that is going to be a big challenge. And there is also an opportunity which comes in due to this COVID times, where a lot of institutions will have an opportunity to internationalize and have collaborations with various institutions abroad. So what is your thought, and how do we proceed? Any suggestions?
No, I think since students physically are not going to go, many of the institutions from abroad, excellent institutions, we can sign MOU and have collaborations by which few courses we can deliver for their students and their faculty can deliver for our students. I think that norm has to come in. Already 20% of the credits are already allowed through the MOOCs.
Online.
That is online courses. And the thinking in the government is how do we increase it to up to maybe 40% from 20%. So in a way, gradually we are moving more and more towards online. But while doing so, I don't want to leave the importance or stop the importance of the physical infrastructure and physical classrooms and interaction, because that is what brings in actual values. Because on a computer screen, I will not be able to deliver value. When a student observes the faculty's behavior in terms of, you say time management and timeliness, and faculty every day comes 10 minutes late. So what value will it carry? So if the faculty comes 5 minutes before the class starts, I think that is the first message that student gets, that in a corporate world, there is a value for the timing of the meeting. I have to be 2-3 minutes before timing, not later. And I think we observed that, Uday Salunkhe ji knows that both Kohli ji and Pratap Pawar were so
Particular.
that they were so particular. I think that value we learn from them actually. So similarly from faculty and HODs and deans, students will learn. So I think so physical infrastructure, playing sports, games, lot of activities like live classrooms, interactions, they are all going to be important. We cannot leave them out. But at the same time, more and more online, more and more people from best institutions can be brought to our institution through online mechanism.
Very true, sir. So due to COVID 2019, institutions and each one of us will be using technology in a big way. Now, in this context, in what ways can faculty institutions collaborate and leverage with corporates real-time problem statements? How much opportunity you see in this aspect of collaboration?
I think I just referred a little bit about internship in the beginning, and many of the students were asking this question, that our internship is not likely to happen during this year and maybe for some more time to come. So we have already had an engagement as an online internship as well. So it is the internship which is mentored by an industry expert, a problem statement given to a set of students, and they work on the online mode and then interact with the experts. So that is also an internship. Maybe physical environment, how the processes actually take place in the industry may not be possible to be watched. But today, with AR and VR, augmented reality and virtual reality, one can develop such internships also where student gets real life kind of an experience. So I think future is in terms of such collaborations. And our internship portal, I think it's almost ready. This week, sometime, it's going to be launched by two ministers, Mr. Puri and our own HRD Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal-ji. It is on internships. And Nirmala Sitharaman, the finance minister, had announced internship after the graduation is over, and a lot of government departments came forward, and the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, as well as the institutions which were transport and other departments have come forward, and they are giving large number of internships for students, and they are all going to be on the platform. So there is a internship platform which is now fully geared up, absolutely superb, and there are more than about 2 lakh internships available from more than 4,500 companies. I think this matchmaking process using AI of the interest of the student and the interest of the industry, as well as a lot of problem statements, open-ended problem statements as projects for case studies, they will all be available. I think collaboration is the key, and I'm sure many institutions also can join, in this effort by providing both problem statements and students to use this platform. Thereby, we really reach out to every student who is interested in such internships.
Great, sir. A few other questions have come with regard to FDPs for faculty in taking or making online delivery more effective. And I'm sure, AIMS also will work on that element. We are also talking to a lot of these IIM who have actually done very well, especially IIM Bangalore, who have been very graceful to ask us to take this forward with AIMS. But nonetheless, there was a question from the team member, and we are sure we'll get there. A lot of people are asking about developing India-centric case studies in management. Happy to tell the audience that AIMS has already got a case development center, and we'll be happy to collaborate and do as much possible. New regulations needed for online process. I think you have mentioned that next year it will come in full pace. A few questions have come with regard to norms in face of COVID, social distancing, digital infra, mandatory requirements. Are there anything coming up from AICT?
There is likely to be there in terms of what we call social distancing or physical distancing. So if the class strength is, say, 60, the division size, we would probably say that only 30 students can be called in-house, and the remaining 30 can watch it on online mode. And this can be, so some set of students come on, say, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, others will come on Tuesday. I think these are possible models. And we will not be very rigid on this. We will keep this as flexible as possible. If the classroom size is large and you want to bring all 60 into the class, we have no problem maintaining the social distance. Or if you want not necessarily 50%, but 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, that also model is fine. So I think more and more online has to anyway come in is what is one part. The second part is social distancing, and all precautions need to be taken, because this is not going to go off so easily. It will take 6 months to a year for bringing back total normalcy in terms of academic calendar also being readjusted. So all these challenges are going to be dynamic in nature. So we cannot probably say what exactly will happen, but many flexibility. UGC has already brought out many flexible things, including taking of examination from home, take home exercises, open book examination. I think I didn't touch upon examination reforms, by the way. So, so not so much relevant in management education, so I didn't refer. But for undergrad education, in fact, I keep telling from KG to PG, you look at our examination system, it's all based on rote learning and memory based. And one who has good memory can score high marks. But if you ask him actually concept and how, whether he has understood the topic in the real sense, he is blank actually. And then when you go for application, analysis, synthesis, data analytics, or innovation, creativity, such students who secure high marks are very poor. The backbencher who scores low marks probably is better in that. So I think therefore our entire model of examination also, the question paper needs to be changed. Thereby the real value which he gives to the society, to his family, to the world at large is what is to be tested in our evaluation system.
Very well said, sir. In fact, sir, there is a conflicting question, two of them. With COVID times, faculty have to spend more hours on teaching due to shifts, online teaching, And the dynamics of remuneration, will it change? And the second question conflicting is, a lot of colleges, because they are not prepared for online education, are thrashing down salaries. So is there any mandate, anything coming up from AICT?
No, we have already instructed two things. One is no, don't raise the fees, number one. There is a demand for reducing the fees from most of the stakeholders, that is students, that due to the crisis, their economic conditions are not up to the mark, therefore they cannot pay the hefty fees. So fees reduction is one part which is all the time coming in, and demand from faculty that full salary should be given. I think both are absolutely, as you rightly said, a lot of contradictions in this. So we have taken a stand, a very simple stand, that don't increase the fees. Right now we are not asking to reduce, but don't increase the fees. Don't reduce the salaries of the faculty as well, because there is a lot of work that the faculty need to do outside the classroom because of the online education. And the preparedness for that requires, in fact, if you have to take 1 hour class, to read 2-3 hours, that preparation is good enough when we were in the face-to-face mode. When it comes to online, you have to search a lot of content from the web, then put it in right perspective and then push it. And therefore, you require preparation of 8 to 10 hours, and actually effort required by the faculty is more. Therefore, one of the demands which administrators asked was faculty-student ratio. So we should also think about it, that it is enough work for faculty, so don't reduce the faculty-student ratio just like that. So, but however, taking a holistic view, we need to do an exercise which is judicious from all aspects, from the perspective of the students, from the faculty, from the management. And that's all what I can say today, and not anymore.
Yes, so there are a lot of other questions, but I think you have covered most of it in your talk, and even with regard to your questions, your answers, and few of course will continue to come in. So thank you, Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe sir, Chairman AICT, for your valuable insights at today's webinar on the topic Management Education Post COVID-19 Challenges and Opportunities, organized by AIMS and WeSchool. As always, you inspired us to enhance the quality of education and taking up the next new season with confidence and positivity. Thank you for being a source of inspiration to us all. My special thanks to President AIMS, Dr. Sujata Mangaraj, for your address, and to Dr. Uday Salunkhe, Group Director, WeSchool, a group of institutions, for moderating today's webinar. AIMS has pioneered, as everybody mentioned, that we conducted 15 webinars, and a few more lined up in the next few days on various topics of interest for the benefit of management fraternity. And today's webinar in particular, with the top cop of management education in the country, has given deeper insights to all of us, and we know the way forward in these COVID times. So thank you very much, sir. As we approach closer to opening of our educational institutions, there will be plenty of questions awaiting to get answered. And AIMS shall collate all of them from member institutions, faculty, students, and these issues and queries will definitely get addressed by putting together to various experts and authorities. Of course, you would be the best person to give us solutions. On behalf of AIMS board, past presidents and President AIMS, Dr. Sujata Mangaraj, I once again thank you, Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe sir. Thank you very much. We look forward for a continuous dialogue to make things easier and a better place for all of us in days to come. I thank AIMS office in Hyderabad and Pune for putting together this webinar along with WeSchool team. And of course, all the participants for your overwhelming response and questions. Thank you once again. And namaste to you, sir.
Yeah,
thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Sir, namaste.
And most important, you can collect all such questions. And I believe that there is no problem which has no solution. So we can always solve this problem.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Pleasure being with us.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you,
Anil.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.